If it's Friday night, say yeah for Strictly Sports. Hello, Brendan Floyd with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Glad to have you with us as always. We had a big show lined up for you, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right into the action because we have a triple main event that I want to make sure we get. We want to make sure it gets the proper amount of time it deserves. So, with that being said, let's dive right on into our first story of the week. Matt Ryan signing a new contract extension. He agreed to a 5-year contract extension with the Atlanta Falcons, and sources told ESPN's Chris Mortensen that the deal will make Ryan the first NFL player to earn $30 million a year. And the deal includes $100 million guaranteed, sources said. Ryan, who will turn 33 next week, was entering the final year of a 5-year, $103.75 million extension he signed in July of 2013. So, Minnesota's Kirk Cousins set the previous record for average annual salary at $28 million, followed by San Francisco's Jimmy Garoppolo, $27.5 million, and Detroit's Matthew Stafford, $27 million. So, no doubt about it, he's getting what he's earned, and we all know the marketplace for a great quarterback. League revenues are up, club revenues, new stadiums, and the players are the heart of the game. And they're the ones on the field, and they certainly deserve their fair share. And why not? I mean, you want arguments? I'll give you arguments. He owns 20 franchise records. He's thrown for more than 4,000 yards in each of the past 7 years. He has reached 40,000 career passing yards in our NFL record 151 games and holds the league mark with a 64-game streak of 200 or more passing yards. He completed 65% of his passes for 41,796 total yards, 260 touchdowns, 126 picks, and a passer rating of 93.4 through 158 career games in 10 years. A regular season record of 95-63. Yeah, he's 4-6 in the playoffs with 2 NFC Championship appearances and 1 Super Bowl appearance. But he is the model face of the Atlanta Falcon franchise. He's embraced their values, and he is a leader on and off the field. And not all teams are so lucky. And you always hope that when you use a high first-round draft pick on a QB, you hope he becomes the next Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Dan Marino. But about 50% of the QBs taken high don't pan out. And I mean, his own right tackle, his teammate Ryan Schrader, calls him the best in the league, and someone that he's looked up to his entire career. He says he also envies the player, leader, and warrior that he is, and he will be here to lead us to a Super Bowl victory in the future, no doubt in my mind. And Calvin Ridley, who was selected by the Falcons in the draft out of Alabama. When you have a guy like Matt, you want to build around him. I couldn't agree more. So, move definitely warranted, without a doubt. So, I basically made my argument about it. So, with that being said, Grill, I'm at Michael Fletcher. Come on in. Matt Ryan, $100 million extension. That's guaranteed. And he's going to be making $30 million a year. First player ever to do that.
And the thing is, unlike guys like Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, and some of the others that you said before, Anthony, none of those guys deserves the money that Matt Ryan is getting. Reason why? He's a winner. He's gone to a Super Bowl. And in my eyes, and you can take this one to the bank, I think he's one of the best top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL today. Now, he's in the lower echelon of the top 10, but I could easily call him one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL today because of the body of work that he's done for the division championships, how he takes the Falcons year after year to the playoffs and everything else. And everybody was wondering, was he going to be, because remember, back in Atlanta, they had the Michael Vick experience. And Michael Vick was so flashy and amazing, and he was a dual threat, with the running and the throwing. But with all the problems that he had, Atlanta needed an heir apparent, the next great quarterback in Atlanta. And a lot of people were not really sold initially on Matt Ryan. They weren't. Neither, and I'll openly admit, I was a little skeptical about him. I'm here to say clearly, without a doubt, and definitively, no doubts in my mind, other than Drew Brees, he is the best quarterback in the NFC South. Better than Jameis Winston, better than Cam Newton, and is on par with Drew Brees. That's a big statement for me to say. And Anthony, because you always have referred to me as Mr. NFL. Matt Ryan is a proven winner, and he's proven it year in and year out, and has taken his team to the promised land. He got him to the playoffs, got him to division titles, and was basically, if it wasn't for a fourth quarter collapse in the Super Bowl, he would have taken the Atlanta Falcons to their only world championship they ever would have had in the Super Bowl era for that team. So obviously, with the sky the limit, with what they got, with Julio Jones, now Calvin Ridley, with that two-headed monster of Devonta Freeman, and with Tevin Coleman now, there is no doubt in my mind that this man is gonna be a great player, and for 5 years, that's a fair amount of time to get, because that's going to bring him out to about 39 years old when this contract is done. Remember, he's still got 1 more year and then an extra 5. So that means he'll be 39 when this contract is over. And rest assured you, my friends, the best is yet to come in Atlanta. If he stays healthy, if he can play to that contract, which I believe he will, Atlanta, you are a threat in the NFC, even though now I think the NFC has gotten a lot more competitive now more than ever, because I think there's a lot of teams now that I consider threats that can get to the Super Bowl. Obviously, you want to talk about the reigning champions, Philadelphia. They're reloaded, they're stocked. Minnesota, the Rams, Atlanta has to be considered. New Orleans has to be considered. There is at least 5-6 teams right now that is definite, legit threats in the NFC. It has become top heavy in the NFC. Unlike the AFC, where a few years ago we were talking about certain teams, but right now, I got to say it, the NFC is definitely in a great position. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's all yours.
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan is definitely worthy of that contract extension. I mean, he's definitely been the face of that franchise the last few years. I mean, especially his MVP season back in 2016. I mean, and yeah, like you said, if it weren't for that fourth quarter collapse in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, he definitely would have had a Lombardi trophy to his resume. And I mean, all the numbers he's put up has just been astounding. I mean, and the thing is, he's definitely had weapons around him, like Julio Jones, like in that running back tandem of Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman, and yeah, I mean, he helped get the Falcons back to the playoffs, although eventually losing to the eventual Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round. So, yeah, and I expect the Falcons to be in that NFC South race. I mean, because of Matt Ryan, and I know a lot about Matt Ryan because I did attend one of the games when he was at Boston College. So, I mean, and yeah, I know some people were skeptical of the Falcons for drafting him, but boy, howdy, I mean, he has certainly rewarded them. I mean, yeah, his playoff record hasn't been impressive, but it was that 2016 season that he finally broke through and got the team to the Super Bowl. Could they be in contention for another Super Bowl this upcoming season? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, I like the extension. He's going to be around Atlanta for a long time, and yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's just move right along to our next topic for you.
Ichiro insists he's not retiring from baseball. He's not done playing in his mind anyway. That's the hard part. Walking away from the game after 27 seasons in Japan and the major leagues. So the 44-year-old icon will transition in a unique way, accepting the opportunity to finish this season as a special assistant advisor with the Seattle Mariners without shutting the door on a potential return to the playing field in 2019. Okay, MF, what are your thoughts on this? Ichiro, special assistant advisor, at least for this year, possibly coming back next year when they open in Japan. We'll see.
This is actually a unique situation. I don't think we've never had anything like this in Major League Baseball history, but with a guy like Ichiro Suzuki, I don't think that's really a problem. I mean, he's done a lot for the game. He revolutionized Major League Baseball in Japan. I mean, there was an influx of great players in Japan, and he was the first. You can genuinely say the first legit success story in from Japan transitioning to the game itself. So I really got nothing bad to say about it. And plus, with everything that he's done in his career, it's a Hall of Fame career, no doubt about it. And what he's brought to the table, Ichiro, in his heart, he wants to play on, which, I commend him for that. And I got nothing bad to say about that. I think we all have that in our heart, in our mind, that, you don't want to leave the game without leaving everything out there. And he feels like he still got something left. But the team feels like this is the best way to do it, but they opened the door for him to come back as an active member of the roster. For this season, they'll probably shut him down, which is fair. And like you said, next year they open the season in Tokyo, Japan at the Tokyo Dome, which is fair, which is great enough for him because that would be the ultimate send-off for him. You let him play those games, let him be a hero again to his native country because that is worth what he does. You can talk about guys like Date Matsuzaka or I'm actually Hideki Matsui and all these other great Japanese guys who came to America just because of Ichiro. If it wasn't for these guys, if it wasn't for Ichiro Suzuki, I don't know if we would have all these Japanese-born players come to America and have the success that he's had right now. And he really opened the door for the Asian market to really embrace our brand of baseball. And now it's become a global game more than anything else. And because of the success of a lot of the Japanese players in America, and, it's the same thing with the Latin American players, guys from Cuba, guys from Puerto Rico, guys from Dominican Republic. Now you got guys from Venezuela jumping, Mexico jumping in. It makes the game even better. It makes it enjoyable because when you got this global stage now being shined in America and seeing the success that they have, it makes this game even better than what it is. And let me tell you, ratings for the games in Japan, the ratings that the games in Japan gets for our games in Japan, they're like second to none. They are really high up there. I think the only other sport that actually dominates the Asian market is actually the NBA. So, and that's a testament to the great marketing by, Adam Silver. That was the great marketing that was done by, yes, you got to give credit where credit's due to Bud Selig, because he was the one that brought some of these international players over, but also encouraging the owners, the general managers, to take a chance, take a risk on some of these guys. And a lot of them have paid off and worked. And that's because of Bud Selig, and also because the game is still being continued by Rob Manfred, the new commissioner of Major League Baseball. I see nothing but a bright future, at least for the game. For Ichiro Suzuki, he will go down as one of the most purest hitters in our sport. Definitely one of the most highly decorated and respected players in Major League Baseball history. And for him to dominate two different leagues in two different countries, that just makes him one of the best all-around hitters. And not only that, but he was an explosive outfielder as well, man. The catches that he made were second to none. His throwing range was unbelievable, how he would gun guys down in second and third base that you almost did not want. If you were on the base path, you were kind of hoping that it did not go down Ichiro's way, because he had a missile for a cannon, a missile for an arm that he could easily gun you out. So definitely, without a doubt, props to his great career. And, I think it's not the end of it. I think it's just, at least for this season, it is. But I do believe that they'll probably want to play him next year, like you said, in that Japan series, so that, that'll be like his victory lap. And then maybe we might see him leave the game. But, you don't really know, because remember, there was a guy named Julio Franco, and he played up until his mid-50s. I think he was like 52, 53 before he finally hung him up. So, and still played at such a high level. So, and plus when you play in the American League, you got the designated hitter spot. So who knows? They might just use him as a DH, and he could still play for a few more years. You don't know. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting situation we have here, but the thing is, I gotta give props to Ichiro. I mean, to serve in this role for the rest of the season, and now to basically have him possibly return next season and have him be in that Japan series. I mean, and he's going to be reveled in a big way, and he basically helped pave the way for Japanese players to come play in Major League Baseball. And like you said, Hideki Matsui was another one. Daisuke Matsuzaka. And of course, this year, Shohei Ohtani coming to play in America this year. So if it weren't for Ichiro, maybe we don't see these Japanese players play in Major League Baseball. So, and like you said, it's definitely become a worldwide phenomenon, to say the very least. So, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ichiro after the season. So, basically, I mean, I got nothing more to say. So, Florio, it is yours.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Yes, as we mentioned, it happens that the Mariners will open next season in Tokyo in a 2-game series against the Oakland A's. And the rules allow for an expanded 28-man roster for that international opening series. So perhaps the door is not slammed. But Ichiro knows he cannot play forever and says he's found a peace in his return to the Mariners this season. And in his new role, he will continue suiting up for pregame work, taking batting practice, talking with players in the clubhouse and meetings. The only difference, according to general manager Jerry Dipoto, is he will not be on the active roster for the remainder of this season. Right-handed reliever Eric Godel was promoted from AAA Tacoma to take Ichiro's spot on the 25-man roster. So that's what if you were wondering there. Dipoto and manager Scott Service believe Ichiro has helped the Mariners get off to a strong start this season with his veteran presence and are eager to keep him in the organization. During games, he will not be able to be on the bench, but he will remain active behind the scenes, likely spending games in the video room or the clubhouse. So, he unveiled a little of the quiet humor that is endeared to teammates when noting that a surprise appearance on the bench shouldn't be totally ruled out. But, he's kind of like the Dalai Lama in the clubhouse. I mean, you see it on the flights, and he'll sit down in his chair, and D. Gordon is sitting next to him. But I'll tell you what, he's got a presence about him, and he re-signed with the Mariners this spring as a free agent, and he batted .205 in 15 games while filling in for an injured Ben Gamel in left field. But with Gamel coming off the DL 2 weeks ago, the Mariners haven't had a need for a fifth outfielder, and Ichiro's playing time had been sparse. So he played one final game for Seattle last week, going 0-for-3 with a walk and a run scored. Also making a nice catch in left field to rob the A's Matt Chapman of a hit in the second inning of a 3-2 loss. But Ichiro has a slash line of 311, 355, 402 in 2,651 games over 18 years in the bigs. 3,089 hits are the most of any active player, and he ranks 22nd on the all-time list. 6th on the all-time singles list with 2,514. 35th in stolen bases at 509. Set single-season records for hits with 262 in 2004. And his 10 straight 200-hit seasons, longest streak in Major League history. 10-time American League All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove winner. For all that in Seattle, winning AL Rookie of the Year and MVP in that record-setting season that the Mariners had in 2001 when they won the 116 games. Even though they did not go all the way, they lost to my Yankees in the ALCS. So, 1,278 hits and a batting average of .353 in 9 seasons for the Oryx Blue Wave before becoming one of the first Japanese position players to sign with a major league team. He started with Seattle. He was there from 2001 through midway of 2012 when he was traded to my New York Yankees. He was there for 2.5 years before he signed with the Miami Marlins for the previous 3 seasons and then coming back to Seattle. It's only fitting that he goes back to Seattle because that's where he had his most success. I mean, he didn't do much in New York or in Miami, to be honest. So Seattle's where he did it all, and he's transcended the game like no other. And we wish him all the best in his future endeavors going forward. And maybe we'll see him back there next year. I mean, he'll be in his 40s. He'll be probably around 45, when they open next season. So that's all we can say on that. We wish him the best. I mean, you guys touched on all of it. So let's move on to our next story, staying with Major League Baseball. The Los Angeles Dodgers, a week ago, made history by throwing the first ever combined no-hitter in their franchise history. It happened last Friday night. Combined no-hitter. Walker Buehler was the one who did the heavy lifting. He threw 6 of those innings in the rain in Mexico against the San Diego Padres. And then 1 inning apiece from Tony Cingrani, Yimi Garcia, and Adam Liberatore in a 4-0 win over the San Diego Padres in the opener of the Mexico series. And there you go. So, Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this first. How about the Dodgers? Combined no-hitter in Mexico against the Padres. Buehler, along with Cingrani, Garcia, and Liberatore. First ever combined no-hitter in the illustrious history of the Dodger franchise. And finally, a bright spot for them. This has been a hard times year for them. They've stumbled out of the gate, but finally a bright spot for the defending National League champs.
Yeah, this was certainly a bright spot for them. I mean, what has been a dismal season for the reigning National League champions. What a moment. I mean, especially for those people down in Mexico to see a combined no hitter with those pitchers there. I mean, that was just unreal. I mean, the last time I could remember, I think a combined no hitter or even a perfect game. I'm gonna. I have to remember. I think it was when the Houston Astros did it against the, unfortunately, Florio, your New York Yankees. I mean, that's the last time I remember, unless I forgot something else. I mean, another time when it happened. So, but that's the only other time I can remember. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great moment for this Dodgers team, even though it's been a pretty disappointing year. So, something hopefully that could definitely turn their season around. But we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say on it. And yeah, this was definitely history in the making, and especially for those people in Mexico who got to see something real special here. So, really got nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
23rd no hitter in Dodger history, the first ever combined, first no hitter in almost 4 years. You remember back on June 18th, 2014, when their ace, Clayton Kershaw, threw a no hitter against the Colorado Rockies. And how fitting was it that the greatest Mexican Dodger ever, Fernando Valenzuela, threw out the ceremonial first pitch. And he too has one of those Dodger no-hitters. He threw a no-hitter for them in 1990 against the St. Louis Cardinals. He threw 119 pitches that night. Buehler, who is the Dodgers' top prospect according to MLB Pipeline, was removed because he threw 93 pitches with 3 innings to go, and the count run up by 3 walks and 8 strikeouts. And then Dave Roberts, the manager, called it a no-brainer to remove him. 3 innings left of a pitcher who needed Tommy John surgery when he was drafted, and has been handled very delicately ever since, and rightfully so. But man alive, San Diego, they knew what the fuss was all about. Eric Hosmer called it, 2 different breaking balls. He was throwing for strikes on both sides of the plate, throwing between 98 and 99 miles an hour. And it's tough to give credit to the pitcher sometimes, but he threw a great game, and he had all of his pitches working to both sides of the plate, and you got to tip your cap to him. Absolutely. I mean, the third pitcher Roberts has removed from a masterpiece, having yanked Ross Stripling from a no-hitter in San Francisco and Rich Hill from a perfect game. And Buehler said his only other no-hitter was in high school, but he gave up 2 runs in the first inning, so that doesn't count. And then Tony Cingrani issued back-to-back 1-out walks in the 7th, but he struck out Matt Zusser and got a fielder's choice grounded from Freddie Galvis. And then Garcia, just recalled after recovering from Tommy John surgery of his own, he struck out 2 in a perfect 8th. And then in the 9th, Tony Liberatore stuck out a pair, getting Franchi Cordero to end it with a swing and a miss. So, I mean, it was amazing. And and I gotta say, for the bullpen, it was a continued momentum booster for those guys. I mean, their bullpen wobbled throughout April, but they're showing signs of stability here in May. And Buehler was also credited with his first major league hit. He also got a hit in that game as well. And just very impressive all around. And and Buehler, youngest Dodger pitcher to pitch at least 6 no-hit innings since Rex Barney all the way back in 1948. So, and he said it, to fly here and to fly outside of our country where the atmosphere is different, to perform the way we did, it's almost humbling in a way, because you're able to put it together and it makes it a little bit sweeter probably. So, I mean, like I said, this has been a hard times year for the LA Dodgers. I mean, a very disappointing start. I mean, they had the best record in baseball last year. They won 104 games. Came within 1 game of winning their first World Series title in nearly 30 years. But they've stumbled out of the gate, and they recently had their struggles with the Cincinnati Reds of all teams, the Dud Reds, who are the worst team in the league this year. So if that's not hard times, I don't know what is. So, but it's still a young season, and we'll see if they turn it around and get red hot like they did last season. So really nothing more to say. Congratulations, LA Dodgers, first ever combined no hitter in their illustrious history. So nothing more to say here. MF, I mean, wow, combined no hitter. It's not often we get them, but a combined no hitter in Mexico in front of Fernando Valenzuela. First pitch thrown out. How fitting.
Yeah, no, and the thing is that for the LA Dodgers, they needed this. They needed a shot in the arm, like you said, because their season's been really a bad season up to this point. And the thing is, you can't really blame anything bad. It's just the injuries has been piling up for the Dodgers. Yes, they got a great squad. Yes, they got a World Series caliber team, but they really stumbled out of the gates because of the fact that their injuries have really been affected. That's what really has doomed the team, is that these injuries that's been coming left and right, and in every other situation, it just is a bad situation for the Dodgers. At least now it looks like they are turning the corner, like you said, Anthony, with everything that's been happening in the month of May. But is it too little, too late? I know it's still early in the season, but you don't want to stumble that badly like you did in April and expect that things could get better. You hope they do, but you don't know, because of the fact that certain teams have had breakout starts for their season. I mean, we could talk about the Phillies and their remarkable start. Atlanta has had an unbelievable start. I don't think none of us expected Atlanta to do what they did, even though they did lose tonight. So did the Phillies. They both lost tonight, and that will have an effect on the power rankings that later in this evening. But the Dodgers were one of those teams that a lot of people believed that they were going to be a major player in the very beginning of the season, and all of a sudden they stumbled out of the gates. And you kind of hope that they turn it around, but you don't really know for sure if they are or not. It's definitely a shocking twist or a shocking turn of events. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
We move on now to the NBA. This is our final story before we get into our big triple main event that I want to make sure gets the proper time it deserves. The New York Knicks announced this past Monday that David Fizdale will be the 29th head coach in the franchise's history. Terms of the deal not disclosed. So, a statement from James Dolan, the executive chairman and CEO of the Madison Square Garden Company. I would like to congratulate and welcome David to the Knicks organization. David is a bright and creative basketball mind who is highly respected throughout the NBA. I'm confident that Steve and Scott identified the right coach to lead this team to the success our loyal fans deserve. Steve Mills, the president, said after a thorough coaching search, it was clear that David would be a great fit with the Knicks, and we're thrilled that he is joining our organization. He's an experienced coach, strong leader, and effective communicator who understands what it takes to build a winning culture. And Scott Perry, the general manager, says David is a dynamic coach who will thrive in New York. His championship pedigree, resiliency, and expertise in player development make him well suited to establish the Knicks as a consistent winning basketball team. Okay, here's what we know about Mr. Fizdale. He led the Memphis Grizzlies to a 50-51 regular season record as head coach over the last 2 seasons, which included a trip to the postseason last year. He had spent the previous 8 seasons, 2008 through 16, on Eric Spoelstra's staff with the Miami Heat as an assistant. He was an assistant for the final 2 seasons, and during his time in Miami, the Heat won 2 championships back-to-back in 2012 and 13, and more playoff games, 70, and playoff series, 15, than any team in the NBA. He served as an assistant coach with the Atlanta Hawks for 4 years, from 04 to 08, and for 1 season with the Golden State Warriors from 03 to 04. He began as a college coach, serving as an assistant coach at Fresno State '02 to '03, and at his alma mater, the University of San Diego, from '98 to '02. So that's his coaching career. And I mean, I don't know much about the man, but if they say and I've even heard that LeBron, I know LeBron is very high on him, and we'll see what happens with the Knicks. I mean, I know for many years now it's been hard times for this team, and here's a team that has not won a championship in 45, soon to be 46 years. 1973, the last time they won it all. They've been to the finals only twice since then, coming up short against the Houston Rockets in that unforgettable final series in '94 against Houston, and then '99. When they were the first ever 8 seed to make it all the way to the finals, and then they lost to San Antonio, and they got beat down by San Antonio in that series. I'll tell you that firsthand. And since then, they've had a few good years, but they've had a lot more bad years than good. But we'll see if Mr. Fizdale can get the Knicks back to the prominence they once had. Like I said, I don't know much about the guy, but I definitely want to wish him the best of luck in his new endeavor. And I know it's not going to be easy because we know how rabid those fans are down there. So we'll see what happens. So congratulations, David Fizdale. I'm going to bring in Mr. NBA on this one, MF. Now, I don't know if you know much about Fizdale as I do, but if you do know anything, shed some light on this. So what do you think?
Well,
good hire, bad hire? What do you think?
I mean, it's an interesting hire. Yes, he is, last year wasn't really a good season for the Memphis Grizzlies, and rightfully so. He was let go. I just think the expectation is wicked high because you are talking about the New York Knicks, and being in New York is such a tough place to play. At the end of the day, I don't know. I think this is going to be a very interesting situation. I guess you could say we're hoping for the best, but that's really all that it is at this moment. It's that you're just hoping for the best, hoping that this team delivers but you don't really know. I mean, like you said, for most of his career, he's more of an assistant coach. Last year was his first year as the head man, and he had about an average season. So, I mean, whatever the case may be, whatever thought the Knicks feels like that this guy was going to be the perfect guy, maybe it's because of the system, because of the fact that he does work more of a European style look that is starting to take a lot in the game, and that might be why they brought this new style of offense. Because remember, with the New York Knicks during the time when Phil Jackson was there, they were utilizing the triangle offense. And don't get me wrong, triangle offense are great if you got the right pieces around you. Unfortunately, I don't believe he had the right pieces around him. So what do? They play him. Now they're going to go with this Euro style look, which is kind of more open up, that it should be better for a guy like Kristaps Porzingis to really have success in that kind of game, because that basically is a perimeter game. They really focus more on outside shooting. So basically their style is they'll utilize a lot of pick and rolls. They'll use a lot of what you see with the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors kind of opens it up a little more, and they utilize more of a 3-point type setup. So if you got that kind of team for this kind of team in this kind of situation, yeah, I think you got yourself a good situation going there. So we'll see with the Knicks. You just got to put the right pieces together. Maybe, especially during free agency. And one other thing that you want to hope for, or you like to see, is them do some smart scouting and smart decision picking as it relates to the wild card. So we'll wait and see what happens. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting hire, to say the very least. I mean, we saw what David Fisdale has done with uh now Florida. Who was it he previously coached?
Assistant coach? What are you talking about, Bo?
No, who did he previously? What was he previously the coach?
You want previous background? Okay, not a problem. He previously worked with Memphis. He also worked.
Oh, that's what it was. That's all it was. I wanted.
He also worked with Atlanta and Golden State as well.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he did a fine job with Memphis. I mean, taking them to the playoffs and yeah, but basically, I mean, he's definitely got a huge task ahead of him by trying to turn a franchise around that really hasn't been has been all that good, to say the very least, for the past few years. So can he do it? It's only a matter of wait and see when it comes to this. So so to me, I really got nothing more to say. So that being said, Flora, let's just move right along to our the first of our triple main event.
Big triple main event. And we started off with our preview of the NHL's conference finals. And we're going to start it off with the series that started tonight, the Eastern Conference Finals, the battle for the Prince of Wales trophy. It's the Washington Capitals squaring off against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And surprise, surprise, the Washington Capitals go into Tampa Bay and they defeat the Lightning 4-2. They have a 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. So I'm gonna start it off with our Doc Emmerich, our Gary Thorne, the one and only MF. And MF, I mean, despite this game tonight, who ultimately comes out of this series with the Prince of Wales trophy and the Eastern Conference's ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals?
I got it. Originally, I was going to go and say Tampa Bay because I thought Tampa had a very dangerous line. I thought they were going to be amazing. I thought they were going to be everything else. Washington made me open my eyes tonight, and I'm really starting to reconsider that decision now. Brandon Holtby, man, what a game he had tonight. Absolutely dominating. That line of Ovechkin, Oshie, and that whole setup. The defense looks really good. You know what? I'm gonna say it. Unless I hope Tampa can definitely get their what's out of their what's, because I don't know. It looks like maybe they kind of weren't ready. Maybe rust. I don't know why. But they really came off looking not so strong tonight. Hopefully they rebound in game 2. I could see this going 6 games. But like I said, initially I had Tampa. But after what I saw tonight, I think it's Washington's time, guys. I honestly believe that the Capitals not only might win the series, but I think they're going to win the series. I got the Washington Capitals, not really an upset because this is number 1 versus number 1, but I got the Capitals going to the Stanley Cup final, winning it in 6, claiming the Prince of Wales, and for the first time since 1998, going to the Stanley Cup final. Unbelievable story. Alexander Ovechkin, he's waited 18 years to get there. I think this is the year he gets to the finals. So I got Washington winning the series in 6. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, I was originally too going to go with the Tampa Bay Lightning after the way they dominated the Bruins, but after what I saw tonight in game 1 of the series, I mean this really is making me change my mind, and I'm gonna go with Fletch here. I'm gonna go with the Washington Capitals as well to win and move on to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in a while. So yeah, I mean I think this is gonna be Alex Ovechkin's time. I think he's definitely going to play a huge part in this series, and I think he's going to be the one to help lead this team to the Stanley Cup Finals. So yeah, so give me the Capitals to win it. Yeah, I could see it going 6 games, but somehow I wouldn't be surprised if it did go 7 games. So nothing more to say. Flory, what's yours?
It's no coincidence that the Capitals are in the conference final at the same time Alexander Ovechkin is having his most impactful postseason. As usual, his numbers are strong, 8 goals and 7 assists in 12 games, but it's when he scores that matters. Factoring in on 3 game winning goals against the Pittsburgh Penguins, Evgeny Kuznetsov has been just as important with the game tying goal in Game 5 and the overtime series winner in Game 6. Tom Wilson, who was suspended 3 games for a headshot against Pittsburgh, returns to create space and chaos. The Lightning, meanwhile, have a similar trio in Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, and JT Miller, 2 unstoppable skill guys with a truculent winger. They haven't been dominant at 5-on-5 in the playoffs, scoring 4 goals in 10 games, but they have been dangerous with a plus 11 in shot attempts. If this were the regular season, the nod would go to Tampa easy. But given how these lines have played through 2 rounds, the first lines, that is, I got to call it even here. When it comes to the depth, I have to give the advantage to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, their line of Braden Point, Tyler Johnson, and Andre Palat had a roller coaster series against Boston. They were torched by the Patrice Bergeron line in Game 1 and then arguably outplayed them the rest of the way. They've generated 9 goals at even strength. Tampa Bay goes 4 lines deep. The trio of Alex Killorn, Anthony Cirelli, and Yanni Gordy is a plus 31 in shot attempts. Veterans Ryan Callahan and Chris Kunitz, the latter of whom knows the Capitals quite well, form a solid fourth line with Cedric Paquette, who's an agitator, by the way. So, and Washington's second line, it is anchored by Nicholas Backstrom, who missed Game 6 against Pittsburgh with a hand injury, and whose status is in question to start this series. And TJ Oshie, Lars Eller, the third line center, Eller, and Jay Beagle as the fourth line pivot. Around them, a collection of young and talented forwards like Jacob Vrana and Chandler Stevenson, and older supporting players like Alex Chiasson, Brett Connolly, and Devontae Smith-Pelly. That's a group that punched above its weight against Pittsburgh, but the advantage when it comes to depth is Tampa. Defense, I got to go with Tampa as well. I mean, Victor Hedman is a monster, skating 26 minutes and 8 seconds a game and papering over any deficiencies from frequent partner Danny Girardi. The Lightning's regular second pairing of Anton Strawman and Ryan McDonough could be a first pairing on most teams, and rookie Mikhail Sergachev and veteran Braden Coburn round out that group. Now, for Washington, John Carlson, 11 points in 12 games, and all but 3 have been at even strength. And he's played with a few partners, but most recently with Michael Kempny, Matt Niskanen, and Dmitry Orlov. They've been solid with a plus 16 in shot attempts. Christian Djoos and Brooks Orpik have been the weak link. So Tampa gets the advantage in defense. Goaltending, I have to go even. I mean, Andrei Vasilevsky made you a believer? 943 even strength save percentage this postseason, and it's generally been solid across the board for Tampa. In 6 of their 10 games, Vasilevsky has given up 2 goals or less. And Braden Holtby sat behind Philip Grubauer for the Capitals' first 2 playoff games against Columbus, but has been strong since regaining the crease, if not dominant. Special teams, I have to give it to the Washington Capitals. 2 lethal power plays. They're second in the playoffs at about 31%, while Tampa's fourth at about 26.3%. And TJ Oshie leads all scorers with 4 power play goals, setting up in the slot for shots like Ovechkin does from the circle. Killorn has 3 for Tampa, and the Capitals have a slight advantage on the penalty kill, 79 to 74% in the postseason, and we're significantly better than Tampa Bay in the regular season, 80 to 76. So Washington gets that advantage. The health, I got to give it to Tampa. I mean, the big concern for Washington is Backstrom, who is an essential ingredient to any recipe for success against Tampa. Andre Burakovsky, who has been out since the Columbus series, looks like he's on his way back. And Barry Trotz said he's day-to-day rather than week-to-week, and he'll travel to Tampa. And the Lightning are generally healthy, which is what happens when you win your first 2 series in 5 games each. Forward Adam Ernie is the only player on their injury report, so Tampa gets the health advantage. Coaching-wise, I have to give it to John Cooper. I mean, like Ovechkin, Barry Trotz finally gets a chance at coaching in a championship round after 1,524 regular season games. And like Ovechkin, he earned it, out-coaching Mike Sullivan in the previous round with some depth lineup decisions after Wilson's suspension and Backstrom's injury. The less said about benching Holtby versus Columbus, the better, of course. John Cooper's aggressive system makes the Lightning difficult to play against, and you can feel the enthusiasm from the players who thrive in it. Cooper, who nearly coached the Capitals before they hired Adam Oates instead, is in his third conference final series in 4 years with Tampa Bay, of course. 2015, a nightmare for me and MF and all Ranger fans when they knocked off the Rangers in 7 games in what was a fantastic series in 2015, and then losing to Pittsburgh the following year in 2016. But here's the thing. It's only one game. I mean, I know the Washington Capitals look great tonight, and they did. But I have just been so high on Tampa, and I picked Tampa Bay to win the Stanley Cup when the playoffs started. I would be a stupid idiot and a muttonhead to go back on that now. So this will be a disagreement, obviously. I do agree it will go 6 games. I agree it's going to be at least 6. But I'm sorry, guys. I still have to go with Tampa. I still think Tampa Bay is the better team. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see the Washington Capitals win this series. I mean, we all know they've had a reputation of being choke artists in the playoffs. I get that. And I would love to see them finally, get that monkey off their back, as we would say. But nonetheless, have to go with the Tampa Bay Lightning still. So nothing more to say here. Let's move on to, oh boy, a Western Conference Final Series that none of us saw coming. And oh my goodness, I can honestly say it's the most excited I've ever been for a conference final series. I'll get more into that in just a minute. But we got the Vegas Golden Knights squaring off against the Winnipeg Jets. You heard me right. And that series will start tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, prime time on NBC. Michael Bullock, we started with you. If I had told you that the Western Conference Finals this year in the Stanley Cup playoffs would be the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets, what would you have said?
I would have said you're out of your freaking mind. That's what I would have said, but
what do you think?
But as the legendary Chris Berman would say, because that's why they play the game. And boy howdy, I mean, what a story. Winnipeg and the Vegas Golden Knights, one of these two is gonna have the right to play in the Stanley Cup final. I mean, what a story this is. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights, in their first year as an expansion team, normally with first-year expansion teams, sometimes they usually play pretty bad, but not the case with this team. And this has really become a special season for them. Now they're just one series win away from going to the Stanley Cup final. And with the guys they got, the team they have, it seems like they've come together. I really want to see one of these teams go to the Stanley Cup final. I wish I could have both of them in there, for gosh sakes. But in the end, it's tough for me to say this, but and guys, have you ever heard of the word destiny? I think this is what it is for the Golden Knights. It's their destiny. And I think they will get to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in their first year as a franchise. They'll win the series. I'm going to say it's going to go 7 games. That's just how I feel. So, yeah. So there's really nothing more to say. Florio, what a story this is. But I think, to me, the real big story I think we all can agree, is the Vegas Golden Knights.
Absolutely. I mean, before I, do my Barry Melrose thing here, I said a moment ago, I've never been more excited for a conference final in all the years, I've been watching / covering the Stanley Cup playoffs. You want to know the reason why? Well, two reasons why. First and foremost, two teams we honestly did not expect, with the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. And the other reason is because myself and MF are actually going to cover this series. Wow. This is going to be so much fun. I mean, man alive, I can't wait to hear what MF has to say about this in just a moment. And hopefully he'll give me his Doc and Gary Thorne analysis like Doc and Gary Thorne would. But right now I'm going to go into my Barry Melrose and Bill Clement mode here. I mean, everything the Vegas Golden Knights have achieved this season seems inexplicable. So let's get that out of the way as a caveat. Their first round matchup against the Los Angeles Kings was a tight defensive series. The two teams combined for just 10 goals in 4 games. But the Golden Knights won each game by flexing their depth, timely penalty killing, and Marc-Andre Fleury's spectacular play. And then against another Pacific Division foe in the second round, it was more of a grind, but Fleury maintained pace to keep the Knights afloat in a 6-game series win over the San Jose Sharks, which MF and I also did as well. The Winnipeg Jets, meanwhile, they handled their first round opponent, the Minnesota Wild, with relative ease, and then came the heavyweight second round against the President's Trophy winning Nashville Predators. And during the seesaw series in which neither team won consecutive games or capitalized on two of the best barns in the league for home ice advantage, the Jets were best in the one contest that mattered, Game 7, a 5-1 beatdown. So let's look at it. Starting with the goaltending. Advantage Vegas. Fleury's numbers this postseason are just obscene. Of his eight wins, 4 have been shutouts, .951 save percentage, and a .153 goals against average. He's also rested, having played only 46 games in the regular season and only 10 through the first 2 rounds. But Connor Hellebuyck, a Vezina Trophy finalist, he sure isn't shabby either, with a .927 save percentage and a .225 goals against in the playoffs. 24 years old, and he's had a few off nights, but seems to be rock solid in the outing after. And the ability to rebound is not one to underestimate, but nonetheless, I have to give the advantage to Vegas when it comes to goaltending. In the first line, I got to give the advantage to Winnipeg. Vegas' top line has been terrific all season, but has not put up the playoff production other first units have. Jonathan Marchessault leads the Golden Knights with 11 points, 4 goals, 7 assists, which ranks 11th among skaters these playoffs. Then again, let's remember the Knights have played only 10 games. The Jets' first line is more productive and probably more talented. Number 1 center Mark Scheifele is on fire. He now leads the postseason. He now leads the NHL postseason with 11 goals, including 7 all on the road against Nashville, which set a Stanley Cup playoffs record. Depth, I gotta go with Winnipeg. The Golden Knights regularly roll out 3 defensive pairings and 4 lines with no regard to matchups. General Manager George McPhee told ESPN in March, we really didn't have a choice. We don't have the elite players that other teams have. We thought that perhaps if our 3rd and 4th lines were better than other clubs' 3rd and 4th lines, that could be a way to even things out. And he has a point. But it still feels as if the Jets have more talent across the board. Yes, second line studs Patrick Laine and Nikolaj Ehlers didn't have their best series production-wise against Nashville, but their center, Paul Stastny, did. 10 points in the series. And 4th liners like Brandon Tanev are stepping up in a big way. Defense, again, I got to go with Winnipeg. I mean, Vegas doesn't have a defenseman who profiles as a true shutdown number 1, but it does have 6 men who are capable, and none is overtaxed. The ice time is quite evenly split, and the Knights are surrendering a high volume of shots, 33.3 a game. It's an area where the Jets have shined, just 28.6 per game, second best mark of the 16 teams in the playoffs. From Dustin Byfuglien pushing around the Predators and contributing offensively, to Jacob Trouba and Josh Morrissey coming into their own. So Winnipeg gets that advantage. Special teams, I got to call even on this. The Golden Knights power play has been pretty pedestrian these playoffs at 17.5%. Penalty kill, however, has been exceptional, quashing 84% of opposing power plays, second among playoff teams to the LA Kings, who have a sample size of only 4 games. The Jets have put up so-so marks in both categories, 75% on the penalty kill, 22.6 on the power play. Health-wise, that goes to Winnipeg as well. Vegas is managing the health of William Carrier, who isn't much of a concern when it comes to offensive numbers, but definitely adds a physical presence in the lineup. They also got a welcome addition last round in the return of defenseman Lucas Sbisa. The Jets welcome back Matthew Perreault last round, which helps with forward depth, and they are remarkably healthy right now. Coaching-wise, I have to give the advantage to Vegas. Gerard Gallant has had to make slight adjustments last round, such as subbing Oscar Lindbergh for Tomas Tatar, a forward his GM gave up a lot for at the trade deadline, as well as inserting Ryan Carpenter and shuffling around David Perron and Alex Tuck, and it all seemed to pay off. Nothing really to critique Jets head coach Paul Maurice for, perhaps in part because he hasn't had to make as many decisions. So Gallant gets that advantage there. This is a tough call. My gut is telling me to go with Vegas. My heart's telling me to go with Winnipeg. I think it's going to go at least 6. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7 because that's how good both teams are. Winnipeg has the home ice advantage because they have more points, even though they did not win their division and Vegas did. But like I said, it's a gut-heart situation. This is the one time I got to go with my gut here. And like Bullock just said, I wish both teams could win. I really do. But only one can. And I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights to win this series in at least 6, maybe 7. I have been so impressed with this team. I mean, that unbelievable effort against the LA Kings in the first round. And then, they had a bit of a time with San Jose in the second round, but they ultimately got by them. So they've beaten, in the last 2 rounds, they've beaten the last 2 Western Conference champions. I mean, they beat, Winnipeg. Winnipeg beat last year's champion, Nashville. They beat San Jose, who won the Western Conference championship 2 years ago. So a slight mistake there. But nonetheless, the Vegas Golden Knights, I got them going to the Stanley Cup Finals. They'll win in 6. I know some of the experts are calling for Winnipeg. I wouldn't be surprised if Winnipeg wins the series. They're very good. But I just think Vegas, just like Bullock said, they're a team of destiny right now. So I'll have what they're having. That's all I can say on that. So give me the Vegas Golden Knights. So it's now time to bring in Doc, Gary Thorne, MF. You heard all my arguments and all my numbers. I got Vegas in 6. This is going to be so much fun. I can't believe we're going to be doing a series with two teams that none of us even remotely thought was going to be at this point. So who's going to walk out with the Clarence Campbell Bowl and the Western Conference's ticket to the finals?
How can you not say Vegas? They're the darlings of the NHL. They've been unbelievable all season long. And the thing is, go figure that these bunch of misfits, bunch of rejects that all these teams did not want on their roster, and now look at the Vegas Golden Knights now. They are literally 8 wins away from winning the ultimate prize. They're 8 wins away from their names being engraved on that beautiful 35 pounds of silver, and it's going to be immortalized forever if they win this cup. So, without a doubt, Winnipeg has been a decent team, and they've flown under the radar. But let me tell you, when you knock out the Western Conference champions, you definitely open the eyes of a lot of fans out there. So, yeah, it's going to be a very exciting series. It's going to be a very exciting battle, but I just feel like Vegas is the team to beat, and I'm going to openly admit this. I think Vegas is going to win the series. I agree with you guys, but I disagree with the amount of games. I think it's going to go the full 7. I think this is one of those series that is going to be highly competitive, highly contested, and I think it might be a defensive struggle, guys. I don't think we're going to get that many shootout type games. I don't think we're going to get a lot of high scoring. I think you're going to see a lot of 2-1s, 3-2 type affairs. I think you're going to see a lot of those. I think it's going to be hard hitting, definitely in your face, smash mouth type games. But I just think Vegas with James Neal, with Nate Massasold, with all them guys, I think they're just a little more better than Winnipeg is, and I just think Vegas just has enough firepower. Plus, when you got a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury behind the net, and he's been unbelievable. Right now, he's my Conn Smythe winner if the Vegas wins the Stanley Cup. I got him as the Conn Smythe Trophy winner for the best player in all of the NHL playoffs if Vegas wins it all. There's no doubt about it right now. He's a marquee player. There's nothing more to say. It's time for the power rankings, Anthony. Let's go.
Actually, MF, we have the NBA conference finals we're going to get into.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I know you were thinking about the if necessary, but oh no, it's necessary. It's necessary because both matchups are set in that regard. Then we will get to the power rankings, and we're going to, well, just like we did with the Stanley Cup conference finals, we're going to start it off with the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA, a rematch from last year. It'll be the Cleveland Cavaliers squaring off against the Boston Celtics. This series will start on Sunday afternoon at 3:30 on ABC, and the Celtics will have the home court advantage in this series, so because they are the number 2 seed and the Cavaliers are the 4. So I'll start it off, and for a few days at least, much of the talk about this rematch of the 2017 Eastern Conference Finals will focus on what might have been and what could have offered some poetic closure to the Eastern Conference portion of the season. Former Cavalier point guard Kyrie Irving would be taking on his old team, and specifically LeBron James, the superstar big brother, whom he dissed by demanding a trade. And meanwhile, in a more perfect Pulp Fiction world, Cleveland would be setting loose point guard Isaiah Thomas on the Boston Celtics, giving him a chance for payback to the team that dealt him away the instant it sniffed a chance to land Irving. Those plot lines are kaput. Irving's season ended in March with left knee surgery. Thomas got dealt from Cleveland at the trade deadline. The best we'll get now are sideline shots of Irving in street clothes on Boston's bench, reacting to the series' ebbs and flows. And Thomas might be limited to tweeting from afar. So that leaves one clear, distinct narrative. The King of the East versus perhaps the best collection of aspirants to his throne. James is trying to cap one of his most remarkable seasons by advancing to his 8th consecutive finals, having led the Cavaliers to the past 3 after 4 with the Miami Heat. He has coaxed and carried these Cavs along a steep learning curve, finally getting them spiffed up by the end of their sweep of Toronto. The Celtics, by contrast, are a team trying to write fresh history. They're ahead of schedule too, given Irving's absence and the loss of prize free agent Gordon Hayward way back on opening night to a gruesome leg injury, coincidentally, in Cleveland. And Boston put out a talented Milwaukee Bucks club in the opening round, then dumped the Philadelphia 76ers, another rising franchise in the East, in 5 games. And for those who think the West has the sexier conference clash, this one offers a pretty slick matchup. James against Boston coach Brad Stevens, widely regarded as a massive tactician. Stevens, who Celtics lost in 5 games to the Cavs in last year's Eastern Finals, gets another multi-game shot. In last year's series, LeBron averaged these numbers to beat: 29.6 points a game, 6.4 rebounds, 6.8 assists, 2.2 steals, and 1.2 blocks. So, the number to know, 18.5. The Cavs have scored 121.5 points per 100 possessions in the conference semifinals against Toronto. 18.5 more than they scored in the first round against Indiana. Just want to make sure you know that. So I don't want to waste too much time here. So let's dive on in here. The Cavaliers won 2 of the 3 meetings between these teams in the regular season, with their more impressive victory coming mere days after the Cleveland roster makeover at the trade deadline. The Cavs were plus 11 in the season series. LeBron averaged 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists a game. Boston shot 30 of 106 from three. And who are we kidding? Regular season results matter little now. LeBron is determined to win his 24th consecutive Eastern Conference Series to reach his 8th straight finals. He was a maestro versus the Toronto Raptors in drawing out his teammates' games. The Celtics, allowing for their injuries, already have overachieved. I mean, I thought maybe they would have a slight chance against Milwaukee. They did. Honestly, I didn't think they were going to be Philadelphia, but they surprised me. But against LeBron and company, I'm sorry, Bullock. I'm afraid it's going to end here. Cleveland Cavaliers win the series. 6 games. Cleveland once again in the NBA Finals. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see the Celtics win this series. I really would. But honestly, as long as LeBron is around and as long as these Cavs are around, who's going to stop them? So, Cleveland Cavaliers in 6. MF. Does the Cleveland dynasty continue? Or do these upstart Celtics, can they prove us wrong one more time? I would love to see it, but I think Cleveland, especially LeBron, is in another level right now. So nothing more to say. Cleveland wins in 6. MF, come on in. What do you say?
All right, this is gonna be a little bit tough to say, but I gotta go with Cleveland as well. I actually do agree with you, Anthony. LeBron is just playing out of his mind right now. It's like he is so hell bent on winning this NBA championship more than any other. He just got a big chip on the shoulder, and if they would have had Gordon Hayward, if they would have had Kyrie Irving, then obviously I would have gone with the Boston Celtics here. Even though the Celtics have been amazing and had a great run up to this point, yeah, like you said, I think it is a journey and a great battle. And unfortunately, I do believe the journey will end for Boston. A great season for them, but I do believe Cleveland will advance. They go to the NBA Finals, and I got them winning in 6. So, Michael Bullock, come on in. Just give me your thoughts on the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable run for the Celtics. I mean, once again, getting back to the finals for the second straight year. And oddly enough, I mean, this is the first time they've done that since 87, 88. I mean, go figure. That was the last time they ever made it to the conference finals in back-to-back years. Well, the Cavs, of course, are playing in another Eastern Conference Finals. And, yeah, LeBron James, I mean, say what you want about the guy. I mean, but what he's done, I mean, he's literally carried this team to the Eastern Conference Finals. And even though, I mean, I would love to see my team go to the NBA Finals, but I do agree with you guys. I think this is where the run's going to end for the Celtics. I think LeBron's going to carry the Cavs back to the NBA Finals once again. And I got the Cavs winning it in 6 games. Would it surprise me if the Celtics would win the series? No, I wouldn't be. But with the way LeBron's playing, it's just hard to go against him and the Cavs. So there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, let's just move on.
We move on to the Western Conference Finals, which start on Monday night at 9 o'clock on TNT. 1 versus 2, the matchup we all wanted. The Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets. Houston will have the home court advantage. MF, I mean, it's only fitting we started with you here. I mean, there's nothing left for me to say on this except 3 little words that we always like to use on the wrestling forum, whether it's Ridiculously Raw or your Cerebral Smack Talk. This series has Be a Man Fight written all over it. So, MF, I mean, you are our Be a Man Fight specialist here. So, Golden State, Houston, a Be a Man series. man, who comes out of this? Who goes to the NBA Finals out of the West here? And what I think is going to be maybe the best Western Conference Finals series we've seen in a while. So MF, let's start it with you here. Golden State and Houston, a be a man series if there ever was one. My goodness. All right. Well, wait. I don't know where MF is, but I'll give you a quick liner note here. Yeah. It's here. Finally, it's here. The series the NBA world has been waiting for. From the moment Chris Paul requested a trade last summer that sent him to the Houston Rockets to join forces with James Harden has arrived. It's the Rockets versus the four-time Western Conference and two-time NBA champion Golden State Warriors for West supremacy. And the Rockets had a feeling they could see this journey through to this point. Even when the teams met on opening night at Oracle Arena, Houston was built to beat the champs and did it twice in their 3 regular season encounters. Rockets center Clint Capella voiced his opinions on the matchup after a January win, saying his team was superior to the champs. And he's just as eager for this matchup, in which the Rockets hold home court advantage. The Warriors are fired up too, and have heard all the chirping. And the Warriors are attempting to conquer the West for a 4th straight season, but this will be their first West Finals without home court advantage. Doing it against a team specifically designed to take them down just adds to a battle wrought with connections. Harden, Paul, Green, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson all won gold medals together, be it on the Olympic or World Cup of basketball stage. Harden and Durant were teammates on the Oklahoma City Thunder, the team that lost in the finals against Miami in 2012. Paul's LA Clippers squad in 2014 was the last West foe to knock the Warriors out of the playoffs before the finals. And the Rockets were the team the Warriors beat in the 2015 Western Finals to jumpstart their would-be dynasty. Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni pioneered the style the Warriors have used to dominate the league while he was coaching in Phoenix, where Warriors coach Steve Kerr was the Suns' general manager. The three-pointers will fly from all directions. Both teams are capable of defending at a championship level. The personnel on both sides is ideally matched. Perhaps best of all, though, is that both teams are healthy and without any ready-made excuses overshadowing this showdown. It's best on best, a test of collective wills between the cream of the Western Conference crop. As Curry declared after the Warriors and Rockets each won their West semifinals series just hours apart on Tuesday, the NBA world has been waiting on this heavyweight showdown. Now it's finally here. Oh, MF had to step out. Okay, not a problem. I'll take it for a spin. So, well, actually, I want to get Michael Bullock's thoughts on this. So, Bullock, come on in while we wait for MF to come back. It's here. Golden State and Houston. This is the Be a Man series. Only one's going to survive. Who's going to do it?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a Man series. And one series I'm looking forward to watching as well. I mean, yeah, two powerhouses in that Western Conference, the reigning defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors, and a team that's determined to knock them off in the Houston Rockets. I mean the Rockets. I mean they got all that firepower offensively, and of course led by James Harden. And to me, I think he's the key to the series. If James Harden can show up and have that. Continue to put up those James Harden-like numbers, and the rest of his team show support, I think they could dethrone them. They could dethrone the defending champs. But again, the same thing like with the Cavs. How can you go against the Warriors? I mean, I think it looks like Steph Curry is back to 100%, and that's not good news for any team, especially the Houston Rockets. I mean, when you got Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. I mean, so as much as I want to see Houston win, I think the Golden State Warriors, to me, I think they're the team that's going to come out of the West and once again win the Western Conference and once again represent the West in the NBA Finals. So fortunately, it's good. I think it's going to be the fourth straight year we're going to get the Cavs and the Warriors in the NBA Finals. So I know how much we're not gonna like this, but it is what it is. So Florio, it's yours.
The number to know, 100.7. The two best offensive teams in the regular season have been the two best defensive teams in the playoffs, combining to allow just 100.7 points per 100 possessions on their way to the conference finals. In the first round, the Rockets and Warriors held the Minnesota Timberwolves and San Antonio Spurs to 5.6 and 5.2 fewer points per 100 possessions they scored in the regular season, respectively. And in the conference semifinals, they held the Utah Jazz and New Orleans Pelicans to 7 and 16.2 fewer points per 100 possessions than they scored in the first round, respectively. The Rockets' starting lineup has allowed just 92 points per 100 possessions in its 153 minutes, having forced more than 21 turnovers per 100, the best mark among lineups that have played at least 75 minutes. The Warriors' Hamptons 5 lineup, meanwhile, has allowed less than 87 points per 100 possessions in its 54 minutes. And the Champs have allowed just 94 points per 100 possessions in 250 total minutes with Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala on the floor together. These teams aren't just here because of how potent their offenses are. And the team that advances to the finals will be the one that continues to defend at a high level. The Rockets made it their mission to put together a group to avenge their 2015 and 16 playoff failures, with the Warriors serving as their primary target. They've got home court advantage and inspired Chris Paul and what appears to be all of the requisite parts needed to interrupt the Warriors' dynasty plans. But do they have the nerve to snatch it off of Golden State, which took a measured approach to this season and has seemingly flipped the proverbial with another championship run on the line? No. Experience over ambition in this one. So I agree with you, Michael Bullock. I got the Golden State Warriors winning the series as well. 6 games. Golden State takes out Houston in this Be a Man series. Wouldn't surprise me if it goes 7, but I got a feeling Golden State will win in 6, and they'll do it at the Oracle. But we'll see. So, yes, just like Bullock, I too have, once again, for the 4th year in a row, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. Boy, I hope it turns out different. So, MF, are we going to make it Cleveland and Golden State for the 4th year in a row?
Yes. Yes, I think so. The Warriors are just too strong, too good, too powerful. I think Houston, they got to win game 1. They have to win game 1. If they don't win game 1, this thing's over in about 5 or 6. I do believe it's going to go 7. I think it's going to go to max. I got nothing else to say about it, guys. This is going to be an incredible postseason. It's been an incredible postseason, but yeah, it could be anticlimactic if it is Warriors and Cavaliers again. I know a lot of people wants to see some new blood, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, definitely, I think the Warriors are really going to get tested this time around because I just think that Houston has the team that could pull the upset. And we'll just have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, I'm with you. I think the Warriors are going to win the series. I think Golden State's going to win the series and go to the NBA Finals. So I got really nothing more to say. Anthony, it's all yours.
And now it's time for the power rankings, MF. Our first Major League Baseball power rankings, rather. I almost said postseason because I got postseason fever. But nonetheless, here we go. And I'll be honest, I actually have my rankings already set to go. So I got no problem leaning off on this. So I just need to get my notes ready. So, all right. And I'm going to start it off with 2 honorable mentions. Those honorable mentions, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. Both teams have lost 2 in a row. Zona's 5-5 in their last 10. Colorado 6-4 in their last 10. I need to see a little bit more from both teams if I'm going to put them in next week. So I'm just going to park it right there. Starting off with a tie at number 10. And I have at number 10 for me the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs. Even though both teams are 5-5 in their last 10 games, both teams have won 4 in a row. Pittsburgh 22-16, half a game behind St. Louis in the Central. Cubs 20-15, 1 game out. 4 teams within a game of each other in the NL Central. The lone exception, of course, being the Dud Reds, but that is what it is. Pittsburgh 4th in runs scored, 8th in batting average. They're 15th in the WHIP, and they're 16th in ERA. So what they've done for us lately, Pittsburgh, well, they did get swept by the Washington Nationals last week in Washington, and they got swept bad. I mean, they got outscored 24-8 in that 3-game sweep. But then they rebounded nicely by winning 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee, and then swept the Chicago White Sox in a 2-game interleague series. And they put an 11-2 beatdown on the San Francisco Giants tonight. So that's big. 2 more games against the Giants this weekend. They're off on Monday. And then another 2-game interleague series against the Chicago White Sox, this time at home. And then they will have the San Diego Padres coming in for 4. So that takes care of Pittsburgh. On to the Cubs, who are 5th in ERA, 8th in runs scored, 10th in batting average, and the 15th in the WHIP. And they're definitely catching fire here. They've won 4 in a row. Previously, they didn't fare too well against the Colorado Rockies. And then they had been swept by the St. Louis Cardinals up in St. Louis. But then they got some welcome relief in the form of the Miami Marlins. And, did they beat them down? Oh, they beat them down. Outscoring them in a 3-game sweep by a count of 31-9. And then they follow that up with an 11-2 beatdown of their crosstown rivals, the Chicago White Sox. All this at Wrigley Field. So 2 more games against the White Sox this weekend. And then it's Buddy Bowl time. Matt Ward, Chicago Cubs against MF's Atlanta Braves. A 4-game series against Atlanta starting on Monday. And then the Cubs go up to Cincinnati for a 3-game series against the Reds. So that takes care of that. So number 10's for me, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs. So MF, agree or disagree with that as we go to you?
Minor disagreement. I actually do have Chicago and Pittsburgh a little higher. My number 10 is actually the Houston Astros. You know what? You're absolutely right. 5-5 in the last 10 games. But they're winners of 3 in a row. They did beat the Oakland Athletics a couple of nights ago. But however, they are playing the Texas Rangers right now, and I don't have a moment update. Hold on 1 second as I check to see if this actually gets validated for me or not, or if I'm gonna have to rethink this. Oh, damn it! Hold on, sorry, folks. Whenever you deal with technology, it does get a little tricky here. They are. Where are you? Where is it?
What are you trying to look up, MF? Maybe I can find it for you.
Houston, because I know they were playing tonight. I want to see if they are winning or not. Because the Astros, no, they lost. They lost 1-0. I see. All right, it hasn't been updated yet. So actually, that actually is not good for my case, because now that actually does the reshuffling. So I guess, yeah, so it does pan out. So the number 10 would actually be your tie that you had earlier. So I'm going to have to go that route then. So, which was Pittsburgh and, let's see, the Cubs. Yep. So that's number 10. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs as my number 10 as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So let's move right along to number 9, and Fletch, you get us going.
All right. Let me double check here because now this is kind of getting me all thrown for a loop. All right. My number 9 is actually, I'm going to stay right in the NL, I guess I could say the NL Central here. My number 9 is the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brew Crew, 6-4 in the last 10 games. They did get a win over the Colorado Rockies here tonight. That is probably one of the reasons why Anthony dumped them as the honorable mention. Basically, they are 6-4 in the last 10 games, a half game behind the St. Louis Cardinals. And oh, by the way, St. Louis is indeed in our power ranking. Actually, no, wait, time. I made a mistake. Yep, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. My number 9 is. Let me see. Do I want to do Boston? Should I do the Red Sox? You know what? All right. I'm going to do it. Boston Red Sox, number 9. Again, first rankings, never easy for me. So, they lost to the Toronto Blue Jays. They went 5-5 in the last 10 games. And, you know, the real reason why that they're down here is mainly because of that series against the New York Yankees. You know, very crucial series, very big battle, and they both ended up getting dumped 2 out of 3 games. So that really hurt the Red Sox more than anything else. That actually brought it to a virtual tie in the division. And there's really nothing more for me to say here. So my number 9 is the Boston Red Sox. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, my number 9 is the Boston Red Sox as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. So Fletch pretty much touched on it. So Florio, it's yours.
I originally had them at number 6 going into this ranking tonight, but with the loss to Toronto, yes, I'm gonna have to put Boston down to 9 as well. Second in batting average and runs scored. They're 6th in the WHIP and they're 10th in the ERA. And boy, how the mighty have fallen for this team. I mean, here's a team that exploded out to a 17-2 start, but since then, they've gone a dismal 9-10 since that 17-2 start. They fared well against the Royals. They did win, and then they won 3 out of 4 from Texas in Texas. But then they did lose 2 out of 3 to my Yankees in New York, and then they lost to Toronto tonight. So originally 6, now they're down to 9. They have 2 more games against the Blue Jays this weekend up at Skydome in Toronto, and then a 3-game series with the Oakland A's that starts on Monday at Fenway, and then a 4-game series with another dud team this season, the Baltimore Orioles. They should have no trouble feasting on them. But in 2 weeks, I want to remind you guys, in 2 weeks, we got a big-time Buddy Bowl. Bullock's Red Sox against MF's Braves at Fenway in 2 weeks. Are we going to have some fun with that? You better believe it. So there's really nothing more to say on that. So MF got it exactly right. It is the Boston Red Sox at number 9. Moving on now to my number 8, and I have a surprising number 8 here. Going into the day, I did not even have this team in the power rankings, but for what I've seen the last couple of nights from this team, especially tonight, I think they deserve to be in there. Oakland A's coming at number 8. They're a 500 team. They're 5-5 in their last 10. And what they did tonight, put it over the top. They're 10th in the WHIP, 12th in runs scored, 13th in batting average, and 21st in ERA. but they did lose 2 out of 3 to Seattle. A 3-game sweep of the Baltimore Orioles at home last weekend. Yes, they got swept 3 in a row by Houston. They got pounded by the tune of 24-5 in those 3 games. But they were so frustrated after that. They went into New York and they pounded the Yankees tonight 10-5. And that alone put them in the rankings tonight. 2 more games against the Yankees in New York this weekend. And then that 3-game series in Boston at Fenway starting Monday. And then a 4-game series with the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto at Skydome. What a way to start off this 10-game road trip. Big way to start it off. Pounding the Yanks 10-5. They won't be back at home until 10 days from now on the 22nd when the Seattle Mariners come to town. And Seattle will be in the power rankings later on. You better believe that. So nothing more to say here. I know this is probably going to be a disagreement, but I don't care. They deserve to be in there, especially after what they did tonight. Oakland A's number 8. MF, how about it?
Any other time, I would say no way, no how. However, Anthony, they beat the New York Yankees. They not only beat them, they pounded them. And another decree that we always live and die by, as long as you're a 500 or better, you're in consideration. Because of this win, they automatically put themselves in consideration, and therefore they get rewarded. I absolutely am positively with you 100% on this one. I also do have the Oakland Athletics in the power rankings as well. They deserve to be in the power rankings because of what they have just done. Remarkable start for them. 19-19. Yeah, they are in 4th place in their division because Texas is not doing that great lately. But let me tell you, man, this was a remarkable. Whenever you beat the New York Yankees, you definitely made us open our eyes. And as a matter of fact, because of that, the Yankees, where we probably had them in consideration for the number 1 spot, they're not number 1 this week because of what just happened. The loss to Boston kind of put them right on the edge, but because they lost tonight, they fell out of the top spot. You're not gonna believe who our number 1 team is when this is all said and done tonight. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, my number 8 is the Oakland A's as well. So, yeah, you make a valid point. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on to 7, and Fletch starts us off.
Now we're going to start dwelling into the NL East. And the first team I want to yell out, the Philadelphia Phillies. They are 22-16, 6-4 in the last 10. They did lose a game tonight. They did lose to the Mets 3-1. However, it was a good game, but they've been pretty much one of the hottest teams in the National League. They're a half game out of the divisional lead. Right now, the other team that's going to be a little more higher is a team that I actually am very happy that they're a little higher, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But this team's been very good up to this point. So nothing more to say. My number 7 is the Philadelphia Phillies. So Michael Bullock, give it to you.
Yeah, my number 7 is the Philadelphia Phillies as well. So, yeah, Fletch pretty much touched on it. So I'm just going to give it to you, Florio.
Yes, Philadelphia. I'm going to tell you something. Because of these results tonight, way too much reshuffling. And I hate reshuffling. I really, really hate reshuffling. I am not going to lie. I really do. It's so frustrating. You think you have it made when at the start of a day, then the night comes and
everything goes haywire. Yup, I know the feeling, Florio. I think we all feel that when we have to do the reshuffling. You're not the only one. I was basically pulling my hair out, the very little hair I do have on my head right now.
Yeah. I originally had Philly at 5. I had Philly at 5 at the start of the day. Then the loss tonight, yeah, it drops them down to 7. And you heard what I said earlier. I originally had Boston at 6. I had to drop them down to 9. And then Philly, who I had in the top 5, now on the outside looking in. They come in at number 7. I agree with that 100%. If they had won tonight, then they definitely would have still been in the top 5 without a doubt. What a start they've been on, 22-16, right up there with Atlanta in the East. 6th in ERA, 7th in WHIP, 10th in runs scored, 17th in batting average. They fared well against the Marlins. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals in Washington, but the big difference this week, a 4-game sweep of the San Francisco Giants at home, outscoring them 32-8 in that 4-game sweep, 32-8, impressive. And then the wheels fell off and they lost to the Mets 3-1. Bad loss, if I do say so myself. 2 more against the Mets this weekend. They're off on Monday. And then a 2-game interleague series with the Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore. And then a big 4-game series with the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis starting on Thursday. And then next Monday, a huge 3-game series against Fletcher's Braves. This is in Philadelphia. Huge early NL East implications. So there's really nothing left to say on this. So with that being said, the Philadelphia Phillies coming in at number 7. I originally had them at 5. Like I said, Boston I had originally at 6, dropping down to 9. I did not even have Oakland in the rankings at the start of the day, and they just found themselves in there. So go figure, what a night. So let's move on down to number 6, and this is where I have the Seattle Mariners, 6-4 in the last 10. They won their last game. They got rained out tonight against the Detroit Tigers. They were supposed to play Detroit, but they got postponed. Obviously, they got rained out. So I'm sure a doubleheader is coming either tomorrow or Sunday. 4th in batting average, 13th in runs scored, 17th in the WHIP, 23rd in the ERA, 21-15. They're 3rd in the AL West. Won 2 out of 3 from the Oakland A's, but they lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels, and then won 2 out of 3 from the Toronto Blue Jays, including a no-hitter on Tuesday night. Doubleheader tomorrow in Detroit, and then Sunday. So 3 more games against the Tigers this weekend. A makeup game against the Minnesota Twins in Minnesota on Monday. 2 games set with the Texas Rangers at home at Safeco on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then they get the Tigers again next weekend up in Seattle, 4-game series. So that's pretty much all I can say on that. If this is a disagreement, I apologize, but I'm sorry. But that's all I can say on that. So Seattle comes in at number 6. I'm sure I got it wrong, but MF enlightened me.
Just a minor disagreement because I actually think Seattle deserves to be a little more higher. My number 6, and it pains me to kill me to say this, is the Atlanta Braves. They lost to the Miami Marlins tonight. That was a major no-no in my eyes. And don't get me wrong, Anthony, you're absolutely right. You got it up to this point, but the only disagreement I have is that I think Seattle deserves to be a little higher. Technically, Atlanta is a little higher, percentage-wise and everything else, but because that Seattle did beat Toronto and Atlanta lost to Miami, that actually overweighs everything that happened. So my number 6 is actually the Atlanta Braves. So Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got the Atlanta Braves as my number 6 as well. So Fletch makes some pretty good points. So let's move on to the top 5, and you start us off, Fletch.
This is where I have the Seattle Mariners. You're absolutely right, Anthony. You had it right. You were going. you were heading the right direction. You just had to flip it. I think that's the best way to say it. Atlanta just needs to be one spot down. Seattle goes one spot up, and then I think everything should pan out at this point. I know there's a few games out west that we kind of have to worry about, especially Milwaukee and St. Louis, but I think this is a safe bet right now. For me, my number 5 is no doubt about it. I got to give it to the Seattle Mariners. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you. Mike?
Bullock, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Great.
Yeah, I have. Who'd you have at number 5, Fletch? I completely forgot.
I had Seattle.
Yeah, that's who I have. I have Seattle at my number 5 as well. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So I'm just gonna give it to you, Florio.
You're absolutely right. I did not take that into consideration. I didn't even look that up, but great point. I mean, Miami's a dud team. I just wanted to reward Atlanta for surprising the hell out of me. I did not think this team was going to be remotely good, but they've proven me wrong. But I am going to make that little indemnity there. I agree 100% tenfold. Seattle didn't even play. They got postponed. So that I should have taken that into consideration. The 6-4, I mean, when you have so many teams log jammed, I mean, it's so tough. But yes, Atlanta goes to 6, Seattle goes to 5. I agree with that. That's how it should be. You're absolutely right. Atlanta leads the league in batting average. They're number 1. They're 3rd in runs scored. They're 9th in ERA. They got to work on the whip, though. They're 21st. But they had a 3-game sweep of the Mets recently, outscoring them 21-2 in that stretch. But then they lost to the San Francisco Giants 3 in a row. And then they a 2-game sweep of Tampa Bay in a 2-game interleague series, outscoring them 6-2 in those 2 games. A beatdown of the Marlins 9-2 on Thursday. And then tonight, the 6-3 loss to Miami. 2 more against Miami this weekend. And then this 4-game series with Matt Ward, Chicago Cubs. That's going to be so much fun. And then another shot at the Marlins next weekend when the Marlins come to Atlanta in SunTrust Park. And then, of course, that big 3-game series with Philadelphia in a couple of weeks. And then, of course, Boston in Fenway. MF and Bullock going to be going at it. So I can't wait for that. So that's Atlanta. They come in at number 6, and I believe I went down Seattle's information. So I'm going to make the indemnity. Atlanta Braves 6, Seattle Mariners 5. So I believe that should get us up to snuff here. So I'm going to start. I'm going to continue on now at number 4. And for the moment, I have the St. Louis Cardinals at number 4. 21-14, 6-4 in their last 10. They won their last game. We got a logjam in the NL Central. 4 teams within a game and a half of each other. That's crazy. 3rd in ERA, 10th in WHIP, but the offense has to get going. They're 22nd in runs scored, and they're 26th in batting average. So they really got to get to work on that. They did well recently. They knocked off the White Sox in a couple of games back-to-back. 3-game sweep of Ward's Cubs last weekend. The only difference is they got swept at home in a 2-game interleague series by Minnesota, outscored 13-1. That's humiliating. But they bounced back with a 2-1 win over San Diego on Thursday, and right now, a 9-0 beatdown of the Padres in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2 more games against the Padres in San Diego this weekend. They're off on Monday. Another 2-game interleague series with the Minnesota Twins, this time in Minnesota. And then that big 4-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies starting next Thursday. So we'll see what happens. So I'm sure Uncle Ed's got to be loving this right now. His Cardinals doing well again. So for the moment, they're number 4, the St. Louis Cardinals. So nothing more to say. MF, hopefully I got it right this time.
He's finally seen the light. Well done, my brother. yes, the St. Louis Cardinals is number 4 in my power rankings as well. There's really no argument here. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, St. Louis Cardinals number 4 for me as well. So nothing more to say. Let's get to the top 3, and Fletch, you get us going.
My number 3 to lead it off. I gotta go with the Brew Crew, the Milwaukee Brewer. Well, actually, hold, because there's also another team I want to put in there. So actually, do I want to do the tie here, or do I want to wait and make it for my number 2? Because number 1's undisputed. Number 1 is definitely undisputed, legit. I'm not gonna make any hesitation moves on that. Actually, do I want to do it that way? You know what? All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give St. Louis the benefit. Wait, I said I was gonna say Milwaukee, so Milwaukee's gonna get this spot here, and I'm gonna save my tie because I do have a tie coming. I'm just gonna let you know in a little bit who they are, but I do have a tie coming up, so I'd rather not tip my hand just yet. So this is number 4. This is where I had the Brew Crew, Milwaukee Brewers. So, Bullock, it's yours.
What'd you say was number 3?
I had Milwaukee.
Yeah, I got the Milwaukee Brewers as my number 3 as well. So, Florio, it is yours.
No. Wrong. You know what? I gotta take it. I gotta take this from an old show that MF used to have. Anthony, say wrong. Milwaukee does not even deserve a snuff at the top 3. You know why?
Did they just lose?
They're on the verge of losing. They're trailing.
Oh, jeez.
They're trailing Colorado 10-8 on the top of the 9th. So,
well, the game's not technically over because I'm watching it right now. So hold on. So hold the phones, guys. Hold the phones. But I definitely okay. Now I know why he said that. All right. I didn't know about Milwaukee. That's on me, guys. That's my fault. I did not know Milwaukee was in trouble and that they were about to lose. That changes everything.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that
actually does
on our part.
That makes up for my little botcheroo with Atlanta.
Yeah, no, you're right. And if that's the case, then my new number 3 would be, if I'm correct, that would be the Angels then.
Yes.
Is that where you're going with it, Anthony? Angels at 3?
Yep.
Okay. I could concede that. I'll concede. Yes. I'll make that decision because, like, again, I did not know what happened with Milwaukee. I did not know that they were in danger of losing. Like I said, I just found out just minutes ago. So, okay, no, you're right. Number 3 is my new number 3 is the LA Angels of Anaheim. I did not know Milwaukee was actually in danger of losing, so I did not know.
Yeah, same here with me.
So you both have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at number 3?
That is correct.
Yeah, that is confirmed.
Yep, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at number 3. As of now, they've won 2 in a row, and they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. 23-14, they lead the AL West. They're 3rd in batting average, 5th in runs scored, 12th in ERA. They're 19th in the WHIP. 3-game sweep of the Baltimore Orioles recently, outscoring them 25-12. Took 2 out of 3 from the Seattle Mariners in Seattle. They split a 2-game interleague series with the Colorado Rockies, going 1-1 up in Denver. They beat Minnesota 7-4 Thursday night, and they currently lead the Minnesota Twins 4-2. As that game's heading into the 7th inning up in Anaheim. Yes, it's in Anaheim. That's correct. 2 more games against the Twins this weekend, and then a huge 3-game series with the Houston Astros Monday through Wednesday. Major AL West and power ranking implications in that one. and then a 4-game, and then they follow that up with a 4-game series, also at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. They're in the midst of, I believe this is an 11-game homestand. Am I correct on this? 4, 3, yes, it's an 11-game homestand. They don't go back on. They don't play on the road until the 22nd when they go up to Skydome against Toronto. So they're 1-for-1. They could be 2-for-2 against Minnesota, with 2 more against them, and then that big 3-gamer with Houston, and then a 4-gamer with Tampa Bay starting Thursday. So definitely looking good for Mike Trout and company. And Trout's been playing on a whole new level this year. This could be his personal best with what he's been doing. So nothing more to say. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim come in at number 3. We go to number 2.
Anthony, you're not going to believe this, but Milwaukee just tied the game.
Hey.
They just hit a 2-run home run while you were talking about it. Manny Manta just hit a 2-run home run and has tied the game at 10-10 in the top of the 9th. So who knows? Maybe we might have to. Well, unfortunately, the rankings are going to be too late. But who knows? Milwaukee might say, "Hey guys, you should have kept us in there the whole time." Jumping the gun, you mutton heads. But whatever the case may be, just want to give you that update. So go ahead to number 2, and I think I know who it is.
I originally had them at number 1 at the start of the day, but after what happened tonight, they unfortunately have to drop to number 2, and damn it pains me to say it. My New York Yankees, I mean, man, they were so hot. I mean, they were red hot. I mean, they were looking like the Yankees of the 90s, for goodness sakes. I mean, it's almost like Tino Martinez and Paul O'Neill and Derek Jeter and all of them came out of retirement or something. I mean, that's how crazy they were. That's how crazy hot they were right then. 26-12. They're tied with the Red Sox for the best record in the American League. They lost 2 in a row, but they are 8-2 in their last 10 games. They lead the league in runs scored. They're 5th in the WHIP, 7th in ERA, 11th in batting average. They stumbled out of the gate 9-9. They had gone on a 17-1 stretch, but now they've lost 2 in a row. Ugh. Man, that stinks. They previously won 3 out of 4 and got revenge on the Houston Astros. I mean, that really excited me. They outscored them 14-5 in that stretch. And then another 3-game sweep against another postseason team. Team they beat in the division series, the Cleveland Indians. They swept them 3 in a row. And then followed that up by winning 2 out of 3 from Bullock's Red Sox. They won the first 2 games against Boston. But then the wheels have fallen off in the last 2 games. They lost to Boston Thursday night by 4. I was willing to look past that. All they had to do was beat Oakland tonight. And they couldn't even do that. They lose 10-5. So 2 more games against the A's this weekend. They're off on Monday. But then a huge 2-game interleague series on Tuesday against the Washington Nationals at Nationals Park in Washington. Major implications in that one. You better believe it. Off again on Thursday, and then they go on the road, take on the Kansas City Royals for 3. And when they go up against Washington, that's going to start I believe it's an 8-game road trip with 2 in Washington, 3 in Kansas City, and then after that, 3 in Texas. And then they'll return home on the 25th to welcome the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and that's going to have some implications as well. You better believe that. So, I mean, but that National Series, that is going to be something else. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton finally looking like the big money home run threat that we knew he would be. He's finally getting the bats going. Aaron Judge is, the Judge is still doing what he's been doing. Gary Sanchez has been on fire. Didi Gregorius, American League Player of the Month for the month of April, and you can't blame it. 10 home runs and 30 RBI in the month of April, and several web gems. I do want to remind you on that. man, I wanted them so badly at number one, but with the results tonight, I only have to put them at number two. But fellas, you cannot deny this team has been fun to watch, white hot. But I got faith they're gonna bounce back. I know they will. I mean, they stumbled 9-9, but 17-3 since, unreal. So don't worry, they're gonna get their mojo back, and I'm hopeful that tomorrow it starts. So don't worry, Yankee fans, we're gonna be just fine. I believe it. So number two, originally one, pains me to do it, but I have no choice. Yankees are at 2. MF, go.
I agree. You absolutely nailed it. Number two is the New York Yankees, and the thing is that I probably would have turned the blind eye if it was just the loss to the Red Sox. I probably would have turned the blind eye and said, all right, the Red Sox are just as good as the Yankees, and I'm not gonna punish them. But you lost to Toronto, Anthony. I mean, you lost to Oakland, Anthony. Oakland is in fourth place in the AL West. No, I can't do that. I cannot do that, even with the good faith, or with my man of good faith. I can't even have the heart to do it. So unfortunately, Anthony, yes, it is. It's time that the Yankees met Mr. Mayhem, a la Sons of Anarchy. So unfortunately, the Yankees find themselves on the outside of the top spot in the first rankings of the season. But we'll see. They could get there easily. There's no doubt about it. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, New York Yankees. They're my number two as well. So, there's nothing more to say. So let's move on to number one, Fletch.
And the number one team in the power rankings is the team that I can definitely say and definitively say is deserving of the top ranking. It is the Washington Nationals. There's no debate here. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-1 tonight. So as Max Scherzer dominates with 11 strikeouts, getting his 7th win of the season already, and on top of that, with that win, that should make them 9-1 in the last 10 games, and winners of 2 in a row in the division, and should push them to about 1.5 out of the division lead that's currently held by the Atlanta Braves. Of course, the Braves did lose tonight, so that definitely should hurt them a little bit. But unbelievable start. Well, another team that stumbled out of the gates, didn't start out really red hot, and a lot of people thought, what's going on with Washington? But they're going up against a really good team in the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now the Diamondbacks has dropped 3 in a row now, and all of a sudden they're falling into that. They're only up 3.5 games. They're starting to fall back a little bit. That might open the door for Colorado. So who knows what's going to happen there? Of course, as I most noted, Colorado is currently in a dogfight with Milwaukee at this hour, 10-10, as it's in the bottom of the 9th in that instant. But at the end of the day, the Washington Nationals are starting to look like the Nationals that we all thought that they were going to be. 1.5 out. We'll wait and see what happens there. But other than that, for me, my number one is the Washington Nationals. Michael Bullock, are you going to confirm?
Bullock, are you with us? I think we probably lost him for the night.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. All right. Nationals won?
Yep, the Washington Nationals, they're my number one. So Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, it's the Washington Nationals. They're number one. 3-game sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates, outscoring them 24-8. And then they took 2 out of 3 from the Philadelphia Phillies at home. And then won 2 out of 3 from San Diego in San Diego. And so far, 2 for 2 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've outscored them 5-2 in these 2 games. Tomorrow or later today, 4:05, Fox Sports 1. That's a big game right there. And then Bullock, Sunday Night Baseball. Your favorite, your Sunday Night Baseball, Nats and D-backs in Arizona on Sunday night. So 2 more against the D-backs this weekend in Arizona to conclude a 7-game road trip. And so far they're 4-1. So we'll see how the final 2 in Arizona go down this weekend. And then they're off on Monday. And then that huge 2-game, I know it's only 2 games, but it's huge because the Yankees are coming to town on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's a big, big series right there. Major power ranking implications aplenty there. You better believe it. The top 2 teams are going to be going at it on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, they're off again. And then the Los Angeles Dodgers come to town for 3. So that'll take care of that. So that will be a 7-game. They're going to follow up a 7-game road trip with a 7-game homestand starting on Tuesday with that 2-game Yankee series, and then the Dodgers coming in, and then the Padres coming in after that. So, yeah, Scherzer looking like his old self. So, you talk about the NL Central being a log jam. We got a bit of a log jam in the NL East. 4 teams within 2.5 games of each other. I mean, the lone exception, of course, being the Dud Marlins, but you got Atlanta leading, Philly half a game behind, Washington 1.5 out, and now the Mets are 2.5 out. So things can change within these next several months. So, but nothing more to say. Washington Nationals are number 1. Pains me to do it, but I have no choice. So should be the Yankees, really, even with those 2 losses. But nonetheless, Nationals are 1. So we're just gonna put a bow on this show. So that's it. Strictly Sports for this week in the books. So nothing more to say here. Let's get into our quick shout outs here. MF or Bullock, whoever wants it. Start it off and then also have the feature content.
Yeah, I'll start. Of course, we want to thank all of you great fans for tuning in. Of course, supporting our shows as always. Of course, shout outs to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. To all of our friends from high school days, you guys know who you are. To all of our local personalities from 6, 10, and 12. Our sports personalities from ESPN, Fox Sports, NFL Network, NBA TV, NHL Network, the MLB Network, and all the other networks out there. Of course, our friends from The Road Show, former co-hosts Mary Larson and Megan Mooney, and of course, the 3 current people, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, Michaela Johnson, and yeah, that's going to pretty much do it for me. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and enjoy your weekend, everyone. So, Florio, it is yours. Or Fletcher, I'm giving it to you.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I want to say thank you to all the great fans. You guys are the best fans in the world. You guys know that. To our friends in the junior high and high school days, much love to you guys. To the 2184 crew, to the super fans, you guys know who you guys are. And that's basically it for me. So we'll see you guys on Monday. So Mike Fletcher, you know the routine, Huzz and Hounds. I'm out. Have a good night. Anthony, take it home.
Yeah, we'll do MF. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. Best fans in the world, of course. A special shout out to Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. Of course, Matt Ward, Jason Nixonbaugh, and Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. Crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Bradison, and Rob Parsons, and of course, the man himself, Derek Ferreira. And all of our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, ESPN, FS1, MLB Network, NHL Network, NFL Network, NBA TV, Chantel McKay from the Golf Channel, Lindsay McCormick, Status Terrell, our friends on the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, the former co-host Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, and Of course, last but not least, my wonderful church family and friends over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study. A little after 10, Sunday service. And then after service, we have a special coffee and donut get-together that we just implemented this past week. So come on down and join us for some coffee and donuts and some other things following service. It's always a wonderful time. And then Wednesday night at 7, Bible study and other things going on. So yeah, pretty much takes care of that. And of course, last but not least, this weekend, of course, happens to be Mother's Day, and that's a very special weekend. And on behalf of all of us here at Strictly Sports, we want to wish a very special happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Of course, to my mother and MF's mom and Bullock's mom, all special, in my opinion, very special. I hope they all hold special places in my heart. They're very special to me. So I want to wish all the mothers out there a very blessed and happy Mother's Day. And it's another one of the most beautiful holidays of the year. You know, getting to, you know, honor and appreciate your mother for everything she has done for you in your life. I know I feel that way about my mother, and I know MF and Bullock feel the same way about their moms as well. So that's all we can say on that. So without them, we're nothing. So special shout out to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day, and hopefully we'll all have a blessed day on Sunday. It's gonna be a beautiful day, I know. So that's it for that. My temporary job has ended, so for the moment, we can go back to having a little bit more detailed shows next week. And that will start with Ridiculously Raw on Monday night. Following Monday Night Raw, you know, we'll have our thoughts on it on Monday Night Raw, and of course my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And then Tuesday night over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk. We'll go down SmackDown Live. Maybe we'll have a Mikey's Mindset. We'll see. And then, of course, next Friday night, we got Strictly Sports. So we don't know what will be on the docket. The only thing I can confirm, probably Major League Baseball Power Rankings again. But we'll see what Derek has in store for us next week as far as the docket is concerned. We'll probably get that like late Monday night. So that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Floyo here. For good old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, Didi Woodson and Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up 4-4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend, especially on Mother's Day Sunday. So until then, you know the routine. Yeah, I think I pretty much went down everything. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 and YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo. So long and bye, everybody. Bye.